On. Yeah, very good morning, guys. So fine. So last day we just been completed up the discussion talking about properties. What are properties, and how do we work with this particular properties? Okay, just shown you about all these things. Properties, how to. I'm sorry, guys. Finalizers. I'm sorry. I explained everything about the finalizers. So what are finalizers? How to define the file? Mainly, our discussion is about the garbage collector. How the garbage collector functions behind the screen is what I demonstrated to you in the finalizers class. Okay, now. So today we'll talk about the next member. What is the next member? The next member is properties. The next member we have in the class is properties. So what are these properties? We'll try to understand today. So what are these properties? See, actually, look at this. I have a class, public class circle. In this class, I have a field, double radius, some value. Okay, now see, you learned about access specifiers already. The class is public. Can I create the instance of the class wherever I want? Yes or not? Class test circle, static void main, create the instance of the circle class. Circle C is equals to new circle. Are you clear? So when I create the instance, the control calls the constructor of the class, and once the constructor is called, the radius is initialized, correct? You learned all these things already. When instance created, what happens? Constructor calls. When constructor calls, what happens? The memory is allocated for all the attributes now. Okay, so radius is initialized. Now tell me, can I access the radius? Can I print the radius value here? Yes or not? Confident? Radius is private here. That's why I say body present and mind absent. Class is public, but radius is private. Then how are you telling yes, sir? If class is accessible, all members are accessible. Program class, when we created the instance, all the 6 members come to you. You must concentrate on everything. You're looking at one line and answering off. Class is public only, but radius is not public. Radius is, but you said initialization will be done. That is mandatory, because when the instance created, memory allocation, initialization, all are mandatory. These are mandatory actions. But is it accessible to you or not is what you require to analyze first. Radius is not accessible to you. Why? Because that is declared as private. Is it clear? Okay. So the point to understand here is, now I can create the instance of the class here. I can create the instance of the class. Now, using this instance, we cannot access the radius attribute because it is private. Clear? You can't access the radius, guys. It is private. Because it is private, radius is not accessible to you. Point clearer? Okay, na? Okay, fine. So we cannot access the radius now. But I want to access. Our requirement now is I want to access the radius out of the class. Okay, if you want to access, how can I access? Option 1. Make it public. Make it public here. If you make it public, anyone can access it now. Correct? Okay, this is one scenario. And now in another scenario, the same thing only. I wanted to access. So what I'll do? Public. Now tell me, can I access the radius here? Yes or not? Watch it. Double radius is equals to C dot radius. What are we doing? We are getting the old value of the radius now. And the next line I can also say C dot radius is equals to, okay. What am I doing? Understood all of you? In the first line, I'm doing what? Getting the old value. In the second line, what I'm doing? Setting a new value. So this is the second scenario. I'm able to get it in Access. Okay. Say, in the above case, we can get access to radius attribute because it is public. Because it is public. Okay. But the problem is we have read-write access to the value once declared as public. So we don't have any control on that value. That is, anyone can get the value of radius and anyone can set the value of radius. Read that paragraph, all of you. In the above case, we can we get access to radius attribute. We get access to radius attribute because it is public. But the problem is we have read-write access to the value once declared as public. So we don't have any control on that value. We don't have any control on the value. What is the meaning of it? Anyone can get the value of radius and anyone can set a value to radius. And anyone can set a value to radius. Understand what I'm trying to tell you? What I'm trying to tell you now, just say, how do we people in India treat public property? Come on, yeah, you put a blank face like this. How do you treat public property? You treat public property just like your own property, you know that? Yes or not? Public property means we feel like it is our own property. Public roads, we throw everything on the road. Yes or not? We throw everything on the road. So public property, how would you, whatever you want, you will do. You will sleep on the road if you want. Okay, you can do. But see guys, in other countries, it's completely different. What do you know? Public property cannot be, means no one can just touch the public property. See, if anything happens like a band or strike or anything happens and the people have agitation on the government, what will they do here? The first thing they do is they just go show their anger on the public property only. RTC buses they will damage. Yes or not? Why can't you show your anger by damaging your own car? Because that is public. Okay, we just go for spoiling the public property. But in other countries, you know that if you touch the public property, you'll be thrown in jail. You'll be thrown in jail here. That's not yours, sir. The problem in our country, you know, we treat public property like private property. We treat public property like a private property and we do all the damage in it. And we treat private property like public property and we just make it safe. But in other country, that is different. What is it? Public property cannot be touched by anyone. That doesn't belong to you. That is based on all the tax paid by all the people and we got that. And you damage a bus, again that goes out of your pocket only. You're thinking you're showing anger on it, but you're not showing anger. You're giving extra money now. All the taxes, you're only just paying it. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is how we treat public property in the country. Oh, you do whatever you want. Huh? Here also same only. When it's public, anyone can get the value. Anyone can set the value. But my requirement is I want to give only get access to the value. Or I want to give only set access to the value. Not possible. Did you understand my point or not? What is my requirement? I want to give only get access to the value. Means you can only read the value, but you cannot write a value. or I want to give only set access to the value. Means we can only write the value, but you cannot read the value. Requirements here, different types of requirements will be there, but that doesn't fulfill my requirements. It is going to be public, so anyone can get the value, anyone can set the value. Developer doesn't have any control on that value. Did you understand what the problem if you declare public? Yes or not? So remember, to overcome these problems, or to overcome this problem in the industry, we follow a standard. We follow a standard. What is the standard? You know, never or ever declare, simply never declare a field never declare any field of a class as public. Did you understand, all of you? To overcome this problem, in the industry, we follow a standard. What is the standard? That is, never declare a field of a class as public. Don't do that. Should not declare. No, don't declare fields of a class as public. That is the reason why generally members of the class by default will have private scope. Members of the class generally by default will have private scope. So later on we can change the scope, but general convention what we follow in that industry is fields should always be private only. Methods can be public, I want to call them outside, but fields should always be private. So to overcome this problem, in the industry we follow a standard. That is, never declare a field of a class as public. So now you'll have a doubt. What is the doubt? The doubt will be, what is that? If we don't declare fields as public, then how can we access them outside of the class? Yes or not? Are you telling don't declare public, sir? If you don't declare public, how can I access them outside of the class now? Clearer? To resolve the problem, we are provided with properties. To resolve the problem, we are provided with properties. That is, by using these properties, we can provide access to values or access to values. Nothing but fields of a class to the outside environment. We can give access to whom? To the outside environment you can give the access, guys. Okay. Values of a class to the outside environment. Like only get access or only set access or both get and set access. Understand what I'm telling you? Public field will give you only one type of access. What type of access? Get set access. What type of access? Anyone can get, anyone can set. But read property. Property will give you three types of access. What are the three? Only get access means read only property. Second one, only set access means write only property. Third one, get set access means read write property. So three varieties you can define properties, and you can give access to the values of a class to the outside environment now. Did you understand the point or not? Okay, understand. To resolve the problem, we are provided with properties. That is, by using these properties, we can provide access to values of a class to the outside environment. Like only get access or only set access or both get and set access. Okay. So guys, listen. Properties are three types. First one, read-only properties will give you get access. Second, write-only properties will give you set access. Will give you set access. Third, read, write properties means will give you both get as well as set access. Okay, then how to define these properties? How to define a property? Okay, syntax to define a property. Watch it. Modifiers, type, name. Under that, we again have two blocks of code. Get, a set of statements, here. And next, set, a set of statements here. Look guys, this is the syntax. And here, get is optional and also set is optional. Modifiers, you know, we're already learning about modifiers every day. Override, virtual, public, private, all those things. Ignore it. Type. Which data type? Yeah, you are giving access to which value? You are giving access to radius. Double data type. You are giving access to name. String data type. That's what the type is. Next, name. Name of the property. Name of the property. Okay. Next, get statements, set statements. Same. You want to define read-only property. You want to define read-only means the property should only, understand, read-only property. Read-only property means when I use that, I need to get the value, correct? Yes or not? If you need to get the value, what the property should do? The property should return the value now. That's all. If you want to get the value, what should happen? The property should return the value. It has to return the value. Clearer or not? Okay. So basically this will contain the code for returning a value. This will contain the code for returning a value. Returning which value? Returning the value of the field. We are hiding the field and defining the property. Understand? Field is private. The property will provide access to field now. So what value the property will return? Field value. Did you catch my point? What value? Field value. Now set. Setting means assigning a value to whom? Field again. So now what will the set contain? You know, set will contain the code for assigning the given value to field. What will get contain? Get will contain the code for returning a field value. Set will contain the code for assigning a value to the field. Okay, na? What it contains? Contains code for returning the field value. Returning the field value. Come on. Contains code for assigning a new value to. Okay. But do you notice the syntax? Both are showing optional. Yes or not? Say, if you write only get without set. If you write only get without set, read only property, guys. If you write only set without get, write only property. If you write both, read write property. That's what I already said you on the top. Properties are three types. What are three types? Read only means will contain only get. Write only means will contain only set. Read write means will contain both get and set. Okay. See an example so that you'll understand it much better. How do you deal with this? Watch. Public class circle. In this, I want to define a private field. Double radius is equals to some value. Okay, now see, class is public. Anyone can create the instance, but cannot access radius. Radius is private, correct? That's what I said you already on the top. So can anyone access the radius value? No one can access. But I want to give access to radius value. Option 1, public. But already we learned about the drawback of the public. We'll lose control on the value. Anyone can get and anyone can set the value. So I don't want it to be public at all. So second option, I wanted to define a property and give a read-only access to the value. What type of access? Read-only access to the value. Are you clearer? So how to write the code? Watch. modifiers. See the syntax now. Modifier, public. Property you want to public only. Okay. Type. What type of value? Double. Name of the property. What name suits best here? The name should be, if your name is radius only, you'll understand, guys. If I change the name again, confusion, na? Yes or not? But two members of a class cannot have same name, na? Understood, na? So that's why in the industry we follow a standard. What is the standard? When you're defining a property on a field, generally both will have same name. To differentiate both the two things, fields are prefixed with underscore. Not all fields, again I'm telling you. On what fields you want to define properties, those fields also will be prefixed with underscore. See, I have 100 fields tomorrow. You defined properties on 10 fields only. Are you clear? After a month, if I ask you a question, on what fields did you define the properties? Do you remember? Tell me. That only I said you. Yesterday, if I say something, today you'll forget. Okay? And after 1 month, if I ask you a question on what fields did you define the properties, means you'll put a blank face now. Anyone? No one will remember this one. How to understand that? See, when you look into the code, you should have an easy understanding of the code. So that is the reason why whatever fields properties are there, those fields are prefixed with underscore. Tomorrow, when you see tomorrow you join in a company, you're working on an existing project, you open a class. If you see underscore prefix for a field, what is the meaning, you know? This field has a property in the class. Is it clearer? Yes or not? There are the code conventions here. You must be very clear with the code conventions. All these code conventions are the standards what we need to follow in the industry. I'm making you sure about all the things here only so that you won't have any confusions again in the future. Is that clear? So underscore. So now this name and this name are different now. Both are not having the same name. But anyone, when they look into the code, when looking into the both are radius only. This is for our understanding, human understanding. But for compiler, underscore. Clear? Fine. Now, what do you want to define? Read only property. Get, correct? Get. What did I say? Returning the field value. That's it now. Code is very simple here. Return. That only I said you. Contains code for returning the field value. That's all. It returns. Now tomorrow, if I call this radius, I can get the value. And if I try to set a value, I get error. Are you clear? Now can you tell me how to write? Write only now. Public class circle. Double underscore radius is equals to 12.34. Next. Public double radius. Yeah, perfect. Set. What you should do, I said you. Assigning a new value to field. Assigning a new value to field. How do you do assignment? Underscore radius is equals to. What is the new value? We don't know. Array, this assigned now later. Array, why will you assign now? Yeah, you're defining a property. Someone will assign it later. When you're consuming, you'll assign, not now. Understood? Huh? If you assign now, that is static. Nah. You want to assign it later. When we are consuming the property, we'll assign. Correct? So do we know the value? We don't know the value. But we need to assign a value. Correct? What you write is that one. It's a keyword. This refers to the user assigned value. When will the user assign? The user will assign it in the runtime. The user will assign a value to this in the runtime. At that time, what value the user assign, this value will get access to that value now and assigns to it. Is it clear? Can't it directly assign some value? You can assign here, but that becomes a static. Na? When the value is static, what is the point of a write-only property? Write-only means you want to assign. Did you catch my point or not? You want to assign a value. So we'll assign it later. How? See? Here you see, guys, you are assigning a value. When? Defining or consuming? When you're consuming, see, not defining. When you are consuming, you're assigning a value. The runtime assignment. To enable the runtime assignment, what you should write is equals to value. this value will be providing access to user assigned value. Sir, where did you declare? No need to declare it. No need to declare it. Okay, then what is the data type? The data type is double. How? That's the implicitly declared. You can understand this. This is something like a method parameter. This is something like a method parameter. Suppose you define a method. Just watch it. Public double radius. Okay. Double. What is it, guys? Parameter na? Array. Here you declared it for a method. For a property, you don't require to declare it. That is the speciality of the property. It will directly give you an attribute called as value, providing access to user assigned value. And the data type of this value will be exactly same as your property type. Your property is string, value will be string. Your property is double, value will be double. Did you understand me? Now, can I write a read-write property? Can I write a read-write property? Come on, I won't speak anything. You tell me now. Public class circle. Double underscore radius. Right. Underscore radius is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now tell me. Public double radius. Get return underscore radius. Set underscore radius is equals to, that's all. Read-write property now. Are you guys clear? Watch it here. For your understanding, I defined all three properties to you right now. First one. Contains only get. Second one. Okay. Third one. It's a read, write property. Any doubts? Ashok, wait here, wait. Differentiate this and underscore when to use. You use underscore on fields when you are defining a property on the field. We use underscore on a field when we define a property on the field. No, I don't want to define any property on a field. Don't use underscore. Are you clear? Underscore should be used only when we define a property on a field. No property, no underscore. Till now, did I do any time? Tell me, from the last 1 month, did you do any time? No. Why? We did not define properties. Today we are planning for defining properties. I'm using underscore there. Okay. So any doubts with the three kinds? What will read-only property do? Returns the value. What will write-only property do? Assigns the value to the field. Assigns a value to the field. Read-write will do both the two things. What's it? Returns the value, assigns the value. Okay, now we'll have a doubt. What the doubt is? Sir, this is a read-write property. So anyone can get, anyone can set. Correct? Then why property if you make it public enough? Na? Did you understand the question? So now you defined a read-write property. Read only, fine. Write only, fine. But what is the need of read-write? Did you catch my point or not? What is the need of read-write? If you want read-write, you already said simply declare the field public. Once you declare the field public, it is read-write only, na? Correct? So now the question still remains confusion. What confusion? Public property, public fields are read-write properties. Which one is easy? Public field. Simply write public over, na? Then writing a read-write property, defining it public is easy. Agree with me? Yes or not? But still the answer is property only, not a public field. Why, sir? Why? Reason is, look. See this now. It's a public field now. Yes or not? Can I assign a value? What value? Any value you can assign. But the new value should not be less than the old value. The new value should not be less than the old value. Where to write the condition for it now? User assigns a value here. But when the user assigns a value, the new value assigned by the user should not be less than the old value. I want to restrict it now. Where can I write the condition? You cannot write any condition now. Why? When you assign a value to a field, is there any block of code going to execute now? No, nothing is there. Condition writing is not possible here. But see, with properties, this is the second advantage. What is the second advantage? Tomorrow, your requirement is the new value should not be less than the old value. It should be greater than. Should not be equal also, fine. It should be greater than the old value. So now I can put a condition in my code now. What condition? If value is greater than underscore radius, then only the assignment has to come into action. Now you try to assign a new value, it won't accept. If the lesser value, it won't accept. Suppose see, it's a salary property on an employee class. Salary. Can you decrease the salary? Salary cannot be decreased. No company generally decrease the salary. What they say is, you can leave the job, but either the salary will be the same salary that continues, or there will be a increment in the salary. So the new salary should never be less than old salary. So in such scenario, we need a condition there. Are you clear? But this condition writing is not possible when you work with public fields. Did you understand the second advantage of the properties? First advantage, it will give you restricted access like a get access or set access. Second advantage, you can write conditions in the code for getting the value or setting the value. When you're getting also, I can put some conditions. If this condition satisfies only, I will give you the value. When I'm assigning the value also, I'll put a condition. What is that? If this condition satisfies only, I will accept your value. Clearer? Because there is a clear block of code which executes. But when you are assigning a value to a public field, there is no block of code there to write conditions. But here, we are assigning a value to public field or private field. A private field. We are assigning a value to private field through a property, and property is in middle here. Everything can be controlled now. Are you clear? The property comes in the middle of the field and you, and it is giving the complete restrictions and applying all the conditions here now. So anything you want to do on the field, you need to talk with property first. Property will deal with the field. Are you clearer? Yes or not? A person is accused on some case. You know what is it? A person accused on some case. Like see, if you see like big people like a celebrity like a cinema actor or a player or a businessman, if they're accused on some case, when the press goes, they never talk. Only thing they say is, speak with my lawyer. Have you noticed that? Speak with my lawyer. Talk with my lawyer. Because you may speak something wrong and again that will be. So what is it? Speak with my lawyer. So the lawyer is the official spokesman. You cannot directly interact with the person now. You want to do anything? You need to speak with the lawyer. The lawyer only gives you all the information, and anything you want to say also, you need to talk with the lawyer, and the lawyer will in turn speak with the accused. So the lawyer is our property now. Understood? The accused is the field. And we are the general public who are trying to interact with the field now. So to interact with the field, what is in between us? The property. The property is the interface through which we require to communicate with the field, because field access is not given to us because the field is private. Any doubts? Are you clear? Property is public. If you want to write property private, what is the use of it now? Properties must be public only, not only public. It can be public or internal or something. But property will never be private. Array, property is private means where can you access from? Same class only now. Same class field is accessible. Then why you want a property? That is foolish now. That is foolish business. Property means something which gives access to outside the class. So properties will never be private. Any of the 5 scopes can be used. What is that? A property can be internal, so you can access within the project. A property can be protected, so that you can access from child classes. A property can be private protected, so that you can access only from the child classes in the project. A property can be protected internal, so that you can access from child and child classes in the child and non-child classes in project, and child classes in other projects. Or property can be public, where you can give access to global. Okay now, so understood the syntax of the code and what you should write in the get and set. Get should return, set should assign. That's it. Okay, now come on guys, let's see practically. Before I'm going to tell you, I want to clarify this one. What is this? We learned about this concept earlier, remember? Class represents an entity, right? Yes or not? We learned about this already. Entities are classes. Entities are classes in object-oriented programming. Entities are tables in relational programming. Entities are structures in procedural programming. Correct? Then what about attributes? Entity has attributes now? Yes or not? What about attributes? Attributes are columns in relational. Attributes are properties in object-oriented. Attributes are what? Properties. Attributes are properties in object-oriented programming. So class represents an entity. So properties represent attributes of the entity. Understood my point? If class is your entity now, student is a class. Student has some attributes now. What are the attributes? ID, name, class, something. All these are properties in the class now. All these are properties in the class. Okay. So guys, watch. What I'm doing now is, there's a project, oops project. Let me go back to our OOPS project here, because last 2 days we did not work with the OOPS project. We created one solution called My Solution with 4 projects, and another project also yesterday we created, a Finalizers project. So I'm back into my OOPS project. Yeah. Let me add a new class here. A class that represents an entity customer. A class that represents an entity customer. Let me close all the unnecessary things first. Okay. So my entity is customer. Right click, add a class. Customer. When we learned about the ATM on the day, we defined it na customer class. And in the customer class, in this particular customer class now, I want to define few attributes of the customer. What are the attributes now? Int, customer ID. Okay, bool, status, string, name, double. I declared 4 attributes shortly. Okay, so 4 fields you declared. And what is the next step, guys? The next step is to initialize the fields. The next step is to initialize the fields using a constructor. Recollect yourself in the ATM system case study. I said you pass the customer ID. Now the customer ID goes to database, loads the values from the database, and all fields are initialized. Correct? Yeah. When we will talk about loading from database in the database classes, in the ADO.NET classes, I'll tell you about loading from database. For the time being, I'm using. It has written of all. I don't want to. I want to pass only ID. I just want to pass only the ID. And after passing the ID, the rest of the three attributes I wanted to give some static values for the time being. Some static values for the time being. Name is equals to some John and balance is equals to 5,000. Okay, now again you watch. I'm making this class as, is it accessible globally? Yes. But all the fields are private, not accessible out of the class. Okay, let's prove it. I will define a new class. We'll name the new class as test customer. Test customer. In test customer, I am writing the main method. Can I create the instance of the customer class here? Customer obj is equals to new customer, pass a customer ID 101. Basically, when I pass this, it should connect to database and load the details. But because we don't know database right now, we have just been defined some static values. So when I created the instance, tell me, there's a constructor call happening or not? And the constructor will initialize all the 4 fields or not? Yes, but none of the field is accessible to you. Verify. That's what I said you already. None of the fields should accessible. I say very clearly said you are no need of writing of typing of the code, getting compiling an error. No need. IntelliSense will tell you. When I say obj dot, is it showing you? Means what is the meaning? It is not accessible to you. It is not accessible to you. Why? All are declared as private. But I want to access. You want to access? Yes, I want to. Option 1, declare public. Option 1 is to declare public. Come on, let's go to the customer class. Write it public. Okay. Now can I access that outside? Dot. And all of you, I'm telling you, listen from now onwards, just very clearly notice this one. Whenever you are using IntelliSense to access the members, if the icon is shown in a purple color, it's a method. Purple color, it's a method. If the icon is shown in a blue color, like a rectangular box, it's a field. A customer ID is a field here. Are you clear? Blue color like a rectangular box. What's it? It's a field. A purple color just like a diamond. That is a method. Okay, so tomorrow, so many different types of members are there. How do you remember all those things? IntelliSense will very clearly show you these are properties, these are methods, these are fields, these are indexers, all the events. Like this, it will show you all the things with the different icons. Okay, now? So that is a field now. Customer ID is a field now. You see now, when you select customer ID, it will clearly show you what is that field. Okay, field int dot customer ID. So can I get the value? Console dot right line obj dot customer ID. Let me set it as a startup object. It opens here. First time it takes time. Okay, now I'll get customer. I'll get the value. You got it now? Can I modify the value? Yes, you can. Yes, you can modify. That is the drawback I was telling you guys. You understand now how can you modify customer ID? How can you modify customer ID? You can modify customer ID, yeah. Can you change your customer ID in a bank? No. Once the customer ID is assigned, that cannot be modified. But see, clearly I can modify the customer ID. I don't have any problem. And you can see the new ID value printed back. And you have I hope you understood the problem with public field now. Anyone can get unconditional access. It's giving you unconditional access. I don't want that. I want a conditional access now. I want to give only read-only access. Solution, change your field as private first and define a property on it. Change your field as private first and then define a property on it. Come on, let's do. Come here. Private, come here and see all errors. All errors. Why? Not accessible. They are not accessible to you. Come on. Let's stay defining a property. Okay, now? Remember how to define? Public. What type of value? End. Property name? Customer ID. Now problem starts. What's it? Two members with the same name. Error comes now. So go here. Prefix underscore now. Wherever you're referring to the property, field, use underscore. Are you clear? Come on. What do you want to write? Get. And see, AI is writing and showing the code to you. Artificial intelligence is writing the code for you automatically. Are you clear? That's the code. Now see, come here and now you understand how to identify properties, sir. What is the icon? A black color spanner icon. Because I just changed the shades, it's looking white color, but there's black. You look in the right. Mine is a dark theme here. If you are using a light theme, that shows you black color. Because I'm using it in the dark theme, it is showing white color. If it shows black, you can't see now. My theme is black, na? So that's it. This is black, you can't see. So that's why it's showing you in white. But if at all you use a light theme, you're having white color, na? Then you will see that in black color. Okay? That's just a contrast. That's all. Yeah. Don't bother about the color. Look at the icon. Spanner. It is a spanner icon. The spanner icon represents what? Property. Can you see a blue color icon? Can you see? No. Why? All are private. I can't see them. Now, if you want to test any predefined class you have, any predefined class, create an instance and use a dot and see, you will not find even a single field in that list. What you will find is only methods and properties. But these properties represents the fields of the class now. Did you understand me or not? Now see, I have 4 fields in the class, but I want to give access to only 1 field. So I defined only 1 property. You want to give access to 4 fields? 4 properties. And where did I use underscore here? Did I use underscore for all the 4? I used underscore only for customer ID because that only I want to give access. Okay. And observe it also. What? Error. Why, sir? Property. This indexer is our next topic. Ignore the tar indexer. Next topic, when we come there, I will explain about that one. Read it only. Property. Customer.customer ID cannot be assigned to. It's perfect clear now. Picture clear that? It is read only. You cannot assign a value to that. Not possible. So I'm not removing it, but I'm writing a comment for you to understand. What is that? Cannot be assigned with a new value because it is declared read on. You cannot assign a new value because it is declared as read only. Okay, you can only get the access. Can I make it work? Yeah, you can make it work by writing a by writing a read write property. You can make it work by writing a set accessor. Shall we try? I'll delete it, guys. I want read only here. But if you want to write, how to write, I'm showing you. That's all. Come on, let's try. What to write? AI writes. Watch. What did it write? See? Underscore customer ID is equals to value. So what is that value? That's implicitly declared. That is going to be an implicit member. Put your mouse on that and see what it shows. It is like a method parameter. I said you already. It is like a method parameter. No need to declare. Which type? Int type. Why, sir? Property is int. If the property is double, value is double. If the property is string, value is string. Automatically changes to you. You don't require to declare it anywhere. And now see, assignment works. Yes, assignment works. You come here, uncomment this, and you don't have any error. Are you clear? I'll tell you one more thing. What is it? How do I know, sir, this property is read only or write only? If this property is defined by me, I know. But if I'm using properties defined by someone, did you catch my point or not? I'm using predefined properties. How do I know? Shows you here. Showing you, see. What is it showing you? Get set. If it read only, it will show you get. If write only, it will show you set. Now it is showing you get set. Get set indicates it's read write. Understood? See the beauty of IntelliSense. How beautifully Microsoft has designed you the IntelliSense and the Visual Studio. That's why this Visual Studio is basically a RAD tool, rapid application development tool. Everything is shown for you there. Did you find all these particular functionalities in your Turbo C editor or a Turbo C++ editor? That is the beauty of the Visual Studio. The most popular IDE the whole world today uses is Visual Studio for .NET. Then what about other languages are Python, Java for all? For all of them also Microsoft has given a studio, Visual Studio Code. There is one more Visual Studio called Visual Studio Code. This Visual Studio Code is another IDE, a lightweight IDE. Will not be like this one. This is heavyweight, but that is a lightweight IDE, specially designed for HTML, JavaScript. When you write the code in HTML, you write code in Notepad. IntelliSense will not work now. Download Visual Studio Code and practice. IntelliSense works. Download Visual Studio Code. Very lightweight component. Not even 1 MB or it will be very lightweight. Yeah, not even 100 MB size also. I don't remember the exact size, but a very lightweight component. You can just download, install Visual Studio Code. You can use it for HTML, JavaScript, Angular, CSS, Java, Python. For all of them, they use the IDE called Visual Studio Code. Is it clear? For .NET developers, it's purely Visual Studio. I can use code also, but this is more comfortable than the code for us because it has a lot of integrated features in it. I want to work with a database. If you want to work with a database, what do you do, guys? You open SQL Server Management Studio, create tables, database and all that. That's what you learned in your SQL classes. Yes or not? But in Visual Studio, I don't require to. When you open SQL Server Management Studio, what you're getting? Object Explorer. Correct? In the Object Explorer, you will find your database, tables and all. You right click, create tables and all options you do there now. I don't require. See, directly in Visual Studio, I find a window called, using the Server Explorer, I can connect to SQL Server and I can bring my database here. Did you get my point or not? You created one database here. I want to use the database here now. I can connect to the database and get the database here. Right click, add connection. It opens a window. It will ask you, what asks you? Which data source you want. Default is SQL Server, but if you want, you can configure to Oracle, anything. Means all under one roof now. Okay, SQL Server. Default is SQL Server only. Now it will ask you, what is your server name? When you open SQL Server, is it not asking all these details to you? Server name, authentication, all these things it will ask you now. You require to enter the server name. My server name is server. Generally, server name is your machine name only. Then what is your server name? You don't know, huh? Open Management Studio, yeah, that will show you. Open Management Studio, the connect to server window will come first, nah? That will show you a server name. Check it out. My server name is server. Next, authentication. I want to use SQL authentication. My choice. My user ID is SA and my password is 123. In Naresh, all passwords are 123. They set it. Okay. And here you will get the list of databases that are already available on SQL Server. All the databases that are available in the SQL Server. I want to use this database. Which one? Northwind. Click on this. Come below. Test. Okay. Click OK. And now the database is available here. You don't require to open the management studio at all. All the tables. Want to create a new table? Right click. Are these not the same options you saw there? Then why management studio for me? Visual Studio will do the job. That is the beauty of the Visual Studio. See, if I use management studio, I can work only with SQL Server. Am I correct? But in Visual Studio, I can work with SQL Server and Oracle also. I can configure Oracle also here. Right click, add connection, same story. Now choose Oracle. Server name, I don't know exactly. Just I'm telling you that's all. System manager. Because I don't use Oracle, I don't know the details. I don't know whether it works or not. If it connects, fine. Your already password combination is correct or not, I don't know. Invalid username password. Manager. Correct. Password manager, I entered M in uppercase. That's why I got the error. Okay. Oracle comes in. At a time, you can work with Oracle here, you can work with SQL Server. If I open Management Studio, I can work only with SQL Server. Na? But the Server Explorer, see the beauty of it, I can work with anything. Are you clear? Okay. So that's the advantage of Visual Studio for us. So it will show you everything here. Crystal clear. If you correctly use Visual Studio, application development will be on your fingertips. Very easy. It will show you all the messages, information, everything to you. What the thing is, you should have the patience of reading it. That's all. Read it. You'll understand what it does and what it shows for you. Are you clearer? Okay. Fine, guys. Yeah, you can store data also. Right click and say open, execute, and you can store. Data won't be stored here. Yeah, see, data is stored in SQL Server only. This is providing an interface to you to access the database here. That's all. It is not creating the database. It is providing a interface to work with the database. Without opening Management Studio and work with the database, you can work with the database from here. That's all. Finally, data stores in SQL Server only, Oracle only. Are you clear? Yeah. Okay, guys. Fine. Let's come back. So now we have just been defined a property now, and the property is a read-write property. You can get and set. Did you understand how to write the code in get and set now? But here I don't want get set here. We are very clear. What we want is only read only, because customer ID cannot be modified. So this is a read only property. It's a read only property. Come here, and I'm putting this in the comment for you to understand. This cannot be assigned with a new value because it is declared read only. It is declared read only. Okay now? Fine. Next. I want to give access to status also outside of the class. What is this status? Do you know this? In your account, in every bank, you have this particular feature, guys. This particular functionality. What is that? If an account is not being used for a period of time, it gets inactivated. You know that? You're not using your account for over a period of time, your account gets inactivated. That is a policy of the bank. That is the policy of the bank. According to the bank policy, if accounts are not being used, okay, they will inactivate the account. Why they inactivate the account is security reasons. What security reason? Thing is, a person is not using an account from last 1 year. Why he is not using? Is he alive? Really, guys, that is the only fact. Is he alive? Maybe the person got expired for some reason. Yes or not? So the thing is, the bank wants to make a confirmation. Is he alive? So first they will lock the account. Once they lock the account, if the person is alive, he cannot use the account. Correct? Then he will come to bank asking or finding out what is the problem. Okay, so that the bank can make a confirmation. What is it? This person is alive. Suppose if something goes wrong and the person got expired, that account should not be misused. In the future, the account should go to the nominee. Am I right? So for that reason, they do that. Okay. So now, how do you inactivate the accounts? Very simple. When you are creating a table, in the database, they will maintain one column called as status. When they're creating a table, in the database, they maintain a column called as status. Status is a column what they maintain in the database. Okay, now. So now, when they maintain the column called it's a Boolean type, will store true or false. True indicates active account. False indicates inactive account. Simply, if the account is not being used, they will inactivate the account. How will they inactivate? After 1 year, every bank has some policy, or 1 year or 2 years. Based on that, inactivations will be done. Are you clear? Understood my point or not? You'll have a question. So how will they inactivate this particular account? If so many accounts will be unused. Will they verify each account and make it unused? No. What happens basically, your account is not being used from 1 year here. So it has to go to inactivation stage. Now you put your ATM card in the machine. You're trying to perform a transaction. A request goes to server, database server. On the database server, it checks now. What it checks? What is the last transaction date? What is the and today's date? If these two are more than 1 year, more than, your account gets locked. Your account gets locked and you get a message, your account is in a locked state. Did you get my point or not? No, the time is not less than 1 year. It is not greater than 1 year. It is within the time. Nothing happens. Directly it allows you, come on, do the transaction. And your last transaction gets updated in the table now. Are you clear? Next time you make a request, current date, last transaction date are compared. If this is more than 1 year, accounts are locked. Understood my point? Okay, like this, we can just perform the locking of the accounts. It's a different story. So for that, we have a column. What is the column? Status. I want to define a read-write property on the status. Why? Because there should be a chance to set that and get it. Okay, read-write property. So I'm going to first go for underscore. And the property should be read-write. Can you help me please? What I want is a read-write property. Come on. Public bool status. Get return status. Set status is equals to value. Read-write property. You can get and set. Now all of you observe it. Value is Boolean. Earlier I showed you value is integer. Now value is Boolean. Okay. And come back. Yeah. See, here I'm writing. If obj dot status is equals to true. If obj dot status is equals to true. Console dot write line. Console dot write line. Account status active. Else account status inactive. And right now the account status is inactive, guys. I set initial value as false. Are you clear? And one more thing I just say. You're writing if condition here. All of you learned in the C language how the if condition evaluates. If condition executes when the given condition returns true. Correct. If executes when the given condition returns true, otherwise goes to else part. What's the condition? Obj.status is equals to true. Means you're comparing two values. Yes or not? Now tell me, obj.status can be either true or either false. If it is true, what is the meaning then? Evaluate it now. If it is true, if true, equals to true. Correct? If it is false. Come on, second option. If false equals to true, not false, true. Okay. So this one, this value should change, not this one. This is fixed na. This value can be true or this value can be false. True is equals to true. Is it true or false? True is equals to true. Is it true or false? True. Means evaluate if true. Second option, if false is equals to true is false. If false. Now tell me, if condition executes when it is true or when it is false? When it is true. Means in this scenario, if will execute. In this scenario, else will execute. Are you clearer or not? Understood? My point is not about explaining about how the if condition executes. You already know that. Understand, yeah? When you're checking like, what did you write? Obj.status is equals to true. You written no need, yeah. If you write like this, that's enough. What status returns you? True or false? Correct only na? What is the meaning? If true or if false? Already we analyzed that only. If true, this code executes. If false, this code executes. Means when you want to check if in if condition you want to perform a Boolean checking, no need. You can simply use the field name there, it works. Integer or something, suppose you want to check I value 10, you cannot say if I. What you should write? If I is equals to 10, because if requires a Boolean. Understood? And status is Boolean only na. I'm passing Boolean only. No need to again say is equals to true. What I'm trying to tell is simplification of the coding. How you can simplify the coding, I'm telling, that's all. Okay, run and see, you'll get the same output. Is it clearer? Okay, so again without confusion, because in the notes as I printed like that only, if obj dot status, again you should not have a confusion. That's why I clarified you. If I write like this, means what the meaning? If true, execute the code. Okay, so next, guys, I want to define a property on name and balance also. What properties? Read write properties. So let me put a underscore here and also an underscore here. Come here. Come on. Again, we are writing a read write property. Public string name. Okay. Name is string, guys. Sorry, value is string now. Next. This also I want to read write property. Public double balance. Get return balance. Balance is equals to value. See, earlier I used to type, but from 2000 nothing here, it will show you just only tab key. That's all. Write off and give you. Value is double. Value is going to be double. Okay. So are you clear? All these are read write properties. So now coming here, console dot write line. What? Customer name. Obj dot name should tell me the name of the customer. John, I want to change the name. Obj dot name plus is equals to Smith. Modified name. What is the new name? John Smith. Working. Now I want to check the balance of the customer. Console dot write line. Customer balance. Obj dot balance. Got it. I want to perform a withdrawal. Obj dot balance minus equals to 3000. Good. Everything working fine. But don't you have a doubt? Don't you have any doubts? What? When status is inactive, how are you doing all these actions here? I'm writing up the code, you're watching where you're putting your brain and observing it. What is the status? Inactive. Inactive means cannot be accessed. Am I correct? You are able to change your name, you are able to withdraw your balance, everything you are able to do. Then what is the point of making it inactive now? Foolish, huh? Is the bank a fool to make it inactive, but you can do all the transactions? Did you catch my point or not? You have 10 lakhs in your account here. You have 10 lakhs in your account. You're not using the account from long time. So one day you went to the bank. One day you went to the ATM. And the ATM, your status is inactive. Your status is inactive. But you're able to withdraw money. Will you go to bank? When I'm safe, no, I will not go. I'm able to withdraw money now. I'm able to do whatever I want. Why will I go? But when I put my ATM card in that, it showed me balance 0. Will you go to bank now? Yes or not? Immediately you will cancel all your appointments and your first priority is to run to the bank only. Why? 10 lakhs became 0 here. Yes or not? You will run to the bank to find out what happened. Yes or not? That fear factor. If that fear factor is not available here, no one will come to the bank. Your status is inactive. Please come to the bank. No one will go. Are you clearer? Your status is inactive. You can do withdrawals. You can do all these things. But please come to bank once. No one will go. 99% will not go to the bank. 1% will maybe going to the bank. That's a 99% they are safe. They never go to the bank again. Why? Let it be. I'm able to withdraw now. Understood my point? Okay, but the balance shown as 0. Now all the 100% will be running to the bank. Understood? So that's what, but that is missing here. So all these actions are wrong now. What wrong? How can you do transactions when the status is inactive? Is it clear? Understood my point? And the balance also should not be returned when the status is inactive. The status inactive balance should be 0. This is the place where conditions comes into picture in the read-write properties. Otherwise, get set access na. Again, the same question. Why properties again? You can make it public only. Already explained you half an hour back. But what did I say? No, define properties only so that you'll have a chance to write conditions in the future. Okay, watch. What you're expecting? I'm expecting the balance to be 0 if the status is inactive. I'm expecting the balance to be 0 if the status is inactive. Are you clear? If underscore status means, yes, now I explain. Now if true, if status is true, return the balance. Otherwise, check your balance now. Are you clear? Okay. So for balance, you're required to write in the get. But for rest of all the properties, you're required to write in set also. For balance, get is enough here. I can show your name, but I don't want to give a chance to modify the name. Did you catch my point or not? So in every set, there should be a condition. In every set, there should be a condition. Come on. There is a set here. There should be a condition. What condition? If underscore status. Then only underscore name. Here also. Don't forget. From now onwards, how many new properties I add? I will add it. Whenever I add a new property, in every property setter, there should be a condition. Setter should be accessible only when the status is active. Okay. But for get the balance, get also requires condition. Get and set. But there only get. Remaining cases, it's only for get. Again, if underscore status. Sorry. This conditioning should be possible. Are you clear? Now you understand. The first one is a simple read-write property, but second one, read-write property with condition in. Yeah, I did not tell you now.
Recording stopped.
Show me the code. What did you write? Then I'll tell you.